Graham Matthews here with Bleach Report and FanSided, the head of WWE Most Wanted Treasures on A&E, speaking with one of the guest hosts here today, Booker T. You were on season 2, you're on season 3, back searching for memorabilia. How you doing? Thanks for taking the time, man. I appreciate it.
Feel great, man. Feel great.
So talking about this show, obviously, like I said, you were on season 2, back on season 3. Any differences that you noticed between being on the last season and then being on this one, or is it just kind of the same deal so far?
Oh no, man, it was just a long process, searching for some of the most iconic WWE memorabilia out there. Meeting some really, really cool people. No, it was actually pleasantly surprised as far as how cool being in that situation really, really is.
Does doing it like already and then doing this season kind of better prepare you as far as what you're looking for and then like interactions with some of these people like the fans and kind of getting some of the stuff from them for WWE?
It prepared me for the prompter. But no, it definitely gives you a blueprint how you would approach the second season. First season was a little bit different from the second season as far as who I was paired with.
Mhm.
But no, it's actually cool. Like especially like being around Lita and Mick Foley. Two of my comrades that I've been down the road with many, many times. That they made it really Lita and Mick Foley. They made it so easy for
Mhm.
me as far as the treasures go.
I was going to say there's no process as far as kind of building that chemistry because you guys have known each other for so long. So I'm sure it was easy as peasy just to start filming, right?
Not just that, we've been around each other for a long time, but the respect we have for each other. I mean, Mick Foley truly has given his life to this business. Leader definitely from the women's side, she has, garnered so much attention as far as bringing more and more women to this sport than perhaps anyone. Seriously, and I did a little bit. I did a little bit myself, So for the three of us to be together, it's kind of like the three amigos. We definitely are comfortable with each other.
When you have to interact with some of these fans to get some of this stuff, like does it become easier? Because obviously, when you're trying to get some of this stuff, some of these people do not want to part away with their memorabilia as all as seen on the show. Like, does that become easier for you? Do you have like any attachment, like any sympathy for these fans having to part with some of the stuff, or are you like just business as usual here?
You know, it's business all the time. We're trying to get the memorabilia. Sometimes they want to give it up. Sometimes they don't want to give it up.
Yep.
And we gotta pull on their heartstrings. Sometimes, sometimes, send somebody out, and I say, I think we sent Dominic out, and I say, Dominic, I need you to show one tear. I need to see a tear come down your eye. Because we need that memorabilia,
Yeah.
But sometimes we come across, fans who have been holding on to that memorabilia that really don't mind letting the WWE universe hold on to it just for a minute, just so it can be in the right place. And the right place is, right there in front of the fans, where they can actually be able to see it, feel it, and touch it. And last year we had setups where the fans could actually come out and see and feel and touch a lot of that stuff that we were collecting. So I think that's what true wrestling fans, want to be a part of. I always talk about the wrestler. Fans have seen me wrestle many, 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 many times, but to get a chance to meet me and touch me and shake my hand and take a photo, I think that experience is so much more.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And some of the stuff that you're talking about, like you said, where people can kind of get a chance to interact with it and whatnot, we see on full display at WWE World and stuff like that. Do you know if some of that stuff was seen this year over WrestleMania weekend? I know it was last year, but this year maybe not.
You
Maybe
know
not.
what? This year, I'm not sure if they displayed a lot of that stuff, just because I was busy and I was
Yeah.
working in a lot of other places. This WrestleMania was like literally the most busiest WrestleMania since my inception in WWE. But I'm not sure, but it's a possibility. Let's just say that.
I mean, that's saying a lot, Booker. You've been in WWE on and off for a very long time now. Talk about Mania Weekend. How was that for you? Obviously, we know doing commentary
Oh
for Stand and
man.
Deliver, but everything else you were being kept busy with.
Yeah, I tell you, Stand and Deliver was awesome, but night one and night two, culminating in Cody Rhodes finishing the story. Just the build up to WrestleMania with The Rock included, I think that added so much more spice. I always talk about the stories that WWE has been able to create over these last, I don't know, maybe a year or so, as far as the premium live events. we go into these events a lot of times. We really don't know what the end game is. The story is not really told, but it's been so many great premium live events. So I just say, for me, I feel like a fan. I try not to overanalyze things. I
Mhm.
just sit back and watch it play out. And this year, it played out so much bigger than my expectations. It really did.
Is that how you approach your role on commentary too? Just kind of going at it as a fan? Because I feel like we can obviously sense the enthusiasm for you on commentary, but as far as also like not knowing where certain things are going, or I guess is that part of the process where you kind of have to know in order to tell that story on
No, no,
commentary?
no, 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 no. I don't read the script as far as the matches on a weekly basis. I try to go in and I have my chemistry with Vic, but that's it. But my primary objective goal is I'm not a commentator. I'm an analyst, and I try to make the show fun. I try
Yeah.
to keep the show fun, but I try to make sure I analyze it from a perspective to where you can get some education out of what's going on as well. We got a lot of young guys that's coming up. A lot of young guys, they're gonna make mistakes. I gotta be able to call them out on their mistakes. As far as being friends, I gotta let them know, look, this is not a friendship business. This is a very, very selfish business if you want to make it to the top. So I'm speaking facts, but I still got to throw my shucky ducky quack quack moment in there on a regular basis. I got to make sure we get Trick Williams over. I got to make sure, with Braun Breaker, no bread, no water, just meat. We got to make sure that part of the show is still intact because wrestling is to be embellished, and people do want to have fun when they're watching.
I mean, you mentioned Trick, you mentioned Braun. Braun obviously on his way up to the WWE main roster. Trick just winning the main event of Stand and Deliver with Carmelo Hayes, obviously historic main event for that and everything else going on that weekend. Just to see the progression of some of these talents, and is it hard to kind of part ways with some of them? Trick will hopefully be sticking around, competing for the NXT Championship this Tuesday. We don't know where he's going in the draft if he's staying put, but
Yeah.
Braun we know is going to the main roster. Carmelo very likely main roster bound. Is it hard for you, Booker, to kind of part ways with some of these people?
Yeah, man. It's just like McDonough when he left. McDonough, that number one stunner. I was just getting the logo ready for him. But it's hard to see these just like Tiffany Stratton. I got a chance to work with her, and I can see the rise of Tiffany. I mean, it was like meteoric. It happened like so quick, and to see him, move to the next level. That's just part of the game. Like Ivy now, she got a chance to come down to reality of wrestling before she went to the main roster. And that's the thing, preparation. I always tell the young guys, preparation is the only luck you're ever going to have in this business. You're going to find yourself, running into a lot of obstacles, and you got to figure a way how to go, around, over. You might have to go, bury under. You may have to go straight through that obstacle, but you got to figure it out. So for me, I'm the ultimate mentor for these young guys. I want so much for these young guys and these young girls to be able to do it, like I did, and so much bigger than I did. So for me, I'm living my best life working with these young guys.
I mean, you mentioned Trick in particular, obviously playing a pretty big role in helping get him over, so to speak, with the crowd and kind of chanting along with the theme song. But obviously, he's doing the work. Obviously, he's a natural talent,
Mhm.
winning the main event of Stand and Deliver, competing for the NXT Championship tomorrow as we speak right now. A lot of discourse, obviously, surrounding Trick in the last week, talking about Dave Meltzer, his opinion on the whole matter, saying he's not that good. When you see something like that as someone that has seen his progression in an NXT, I mean, having seen his work as a fan myself, I see the work that he's put in, and obviously it's NXT for a reason. It's developmental. But as someone that has seen that progression for Trick in NXT over the last number of years, your take on kind of what's going around about Trick right now, I guess.
Man, Trick has had a meteoric rise. It's one thing about the wrestling. It's subjective to
Yeah.
the person that's watching it. I never really look at that side of it because I really wasn't that great of a wrestler myself. I just act like I was a good wrestler. but Trick Williams, he's done something so captivating, and that's be able to connect with that crowd. That crowd want to see Trick win. They want to see him come up, just because of that charisma that he display on a weekly basis. He's a good dude as well. His wrestling, that's going to come. I talk to Trick Williams all the time myself about that aspect of his game,
Hmm.
and that's not something that happens overnight. Trick Williams has had literally, you can count just about on both hands how many matches Trick Williams has had actually in the ring on television.
Yeah.
So for me, Trick is a diamond in the rough. But trust me, once we polish him up, man, he's going to shine, and he's going to shine like new money. And right now, he's doing a hell of a job as far as creating his aura in NXT. And by the time he get to that next level, and I can say this, and I can honestly say this: is Trick Williams ready for the main roster right now? Me personally, I don't think so.
Mhm.
But that's what NXT is for, to get these young guys ready for that next level, just like Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo's been grinding in NXT for about the last 2 years. He's been grinding. Give Trick Williams that same amount of time and see how this young man develops. He is truly going to be a generational talent in this business that hadn't come along in a long time. Perhaps since Booker T.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I mean, I feel like you said it right there too. That's the whole point that I feel like that's lost on people. That's what NXT is for. I mean, obviously it's considered a third brand by many, but still it is a stepping stone for Raw and SmackDown. And hopefully at that point he can be on the level of a Carmelo. And in many ways he already is as far as that fan
Oh,
support, but
yes.
obviously coming along in different ways. But for you, Booker, I mean, obviously being a part of NXT on commentary as an analyst, like you said, for the last 2 years now, seeing the progression of the brand, and we've seen like creatively in the main roster how different it is with the different regime in charge, how much better it's been in many respects. Just as a fan, as an analyst in NXT, have you seen that switch up in NXT as well? Or has it kind of been the same, but not in a bad way necessarily, as far as NXT going unaffected by a lot of the stuff that you see in the main roster behind the scenes and NXT kind of staying consistent, if that makes sense?
Yeah, you know what? Shawn Michaels, he's doing a hell of a job. He's doing a hell of a job. He's got a hell of a team in NXT, and it seems like it's a totally different vibe than what's going on the main roster as far
Mhm.
as SmackDown and Raw. Every time we lose one, we replace it. You know what I mean? It's like, I always tell my students, when we have one loose link in our chain, we take it out, we fix it, and we keep on rolling. I think that's what NXT has been able to do, because we have lost some really, really mainstream talent in NXT, but it still seems like the boat's still floating as fast as it has been for this last 2 years since I've been there. So for me, I like the direction. I like the direction as far as what NXT is doing to prepare these young guys for that next level.
Like you said, I feel like NXT also does a pretty good job constantly of replenishing the pot, bringing in new people, whether it be established talent from elsewhere or newer people. I mean, obviously, they don't have a lot of experience. People like the Tiffany's and the Tricks that come from different worlds, so to speak, and then come to WWE and do extremely well. One of those people that we've seen recently, not debut yet, but been a lot of rumblings lately. It remains to be seen if he goes to NXT first to the main roster. But Jacob Fatu, a pretty big name on the independent scene, someone from the kind of Texas area and kind of making his name around there. He
Yeah.
might be WWE bound. He could already be in WWE. We don't know. Time will tell. But your thoughts on that, Booker, as far, I mean, obviously getting a chance to work with him in NXT would be cool, but
Yeah.
Jacob Fatu, I know you're familiar with them. Your thoughts on him potentially being WWE bound?
I've been the advocate for Jacob Fatu. I don't know if you know about it, but I don't know, maybe 6 months back, put out a post that I was, doing everything that I possibly could to get Jacob Fatu in the WWE, just because I feel like he deserves to be there. He is
Yep.
truly a talent that we haven't seen in many, many years. This guy's really that good, and to be able to work with him up close and personal at Reality of Wrestling has been a joy for me. So I'm not. I don't want to give anything away or anything like that. But I can tell you this: Jacob Fatu, he is definitely he's definitely going to make that move, and he's going to make that move real soon. Trust
He's a star in the making.
me.
I'm
Yes.
shocked that it hasn't happened already. You've talked about it before, but it's just a logical next
It,
step.
it,
And
it's you know what? It's going to happen. We're gonna will that into fruition. We're gonna make that happen, because now my thing is, for me, I see talent. I spot talent.
Mhm.
I can bring you in the reality of wrestling, and then within 2 minutes, I know if you got it or not to work on my show. And for Jacob Fatu, this is a guy that could work anywhere in the world. And you may have, just say for instance, you see him for the first time, you will never ever forget
Yep.
Jacob Fatu.
No, definitely. I feel like the WWE universe, for anyone that's not familiar with them, is about to see that hopefully soon. It's not a matter of if, more a matter of when, I would say. But
Oh, there it is.
yeah, there you go, there you go, and I
Yeah,
feel like as
there
soon
it
as
is.
people see him, they're gonna know exactly what you're talking about. But as we wind down here, Booker, just going back to the show as far as some items that you personally would never wanna part way with in your career, is there anything that if you were on the other side of WWE's Most Wanted Treasures and they came calling for you, and maybe they have, obviously, you've worked with WWE forever now, and they want your merchandise or, memorabilia, stuff like that. Is there anything that you would not want them to part with that you would not wanna part ways with from your career?
It'd probably be the television championship, the WCW television championship, just because that's the title that, sparked my career. It's the title that, gave me a chip in the game. And it meant so much to me, I think, because I wasn't even supposed to win the title the night that I won the television championship. Rick Martel was supposed to win the title, and he had forgot his boots and his gear in Canada, and they had to put the title on someone. They wanted to
Mhm.
take it off Disco Inferno, and boom, it's like, "Book, we're gonna put the title on you, and but we're gonna, transition it to Rick Martel, in a few weeks, And I was like, "Well, all right, that's cool." But I said, well, to myself when I got that title, I said, "Man, they're never gonna get this title off my waist, man. And they're never getting it back." And 6 championship reigns later, realizing that perhaps I could be, main event material. Perhaps I could be world championship material. It all started with the World Television Championship.
And on the flip side, is there another item out there from your career, or I guess it doesn't have to necessarily be from your career, that if you were out there looking for that, if it was possible to find, like we saw recently with the Cody Rhodes watch thing, Dusty's watch, we just saw that over Mania week, and I don't know how they were able to find that, but they did. For you, is there something out there from your life, career, whatever it might be, that you would love to get your hands on again?
Oh man, well, there it is. Like I say, I don't have the television championship.
Oh, okay.
The television championship is out there in the world somewhere, and we have never been able to find it.
Wow.
That's the one. That's the one piece of my career that's missing, and hopefully, one day we'll find the WCW World Television Championship.
Well, it's out there now. Hopefully someone will hear this and someone will, go find it. Maybe there's a wrestling historian that can track down its
Yeah,
whereabouts and we'll find it by the next time we speak. But Booker, this has been great. Like I said, WWE Most Wanted Treasures airing weekly right now on A&E, and people can, of course, find you every Tuesday on NXT as well. Booker, always a pleasure talking, man. I appreciate you taking the time.
pleasure. Thank you, man. Appreciate you having me.